Hello, this is Dr. Mike Brooks. I'm a licensed psychologist and the director of the Austin Psychology and Assessment Center, or ApaCenter. Today's video blog topic is on the benefits of gaming. Now, I have been doing a series here, and I'm going to go back to it, does video game violence cause children and adolescents to become more violent? It's a very important topic, a hot topic nowadays. But I want to give this general topic about video games some balance here, because in life, most things, they aren't good or bad, they just are. And I started a couple segments back ago talking about this, about how books aren't inherently better than video games, and there's some great books, and then there's Mein Kampf, and you could think about like a brick, the uses of a brick. A brick isn't good or bad, it just is. It can be used to build a house or to knock somebody over the head. And video games, I'd say, are just like movies, other forms of media. They aren't good or bad, they just are. And so while the general topic is on video game violence and the effects of video game violence on kids and adolescents, I want to shift focus here and talk about the benefits of gaming a little bit. So I've got my iPad here, and I'm going to be reading it out, and you're going to see some PowerPoint slides on this topic. So to start out with, video games are fun. They're entertainment. I had one person tell me once video games were a colossal waste of time, and I had so many thoughts in response to that, but my response to him was, well, not if you enjoy them. We do all sorts of things for enjoyment, and video games can be extremely fun. They can increase feelings of happiness, well-being, feelings of pride, a sense of accomplishment. And there's this term called fiero that's from an Italian word, but it means like feelings of exultation or triumphant feelings that you get from like defeating a big boss or something like that, finally beating a level. And video games elicit such feelings at times, and when they do, it really sticks with us because they're so powerful. And I know in my video game history, I could go off and name many times where I had that feeling, and it's really stamped into my memory. So the next one I want to talk about is connections and building relationships. So a lot of people, and I guess traditionally, like many years ago, video games would be more isolating, where people play them on their own for hours and hours. But in the past decade or so, there's been a lot more online gaming and things like Xbox Live, where so many games are multiplayer now, and their friends get online at the same time, and people form clans and groups in Call of Duty and Halo and other games, World of Warcraft, and they have guilds where they get together and work together as a group to accomplish tasks. And there needs to be a lot of communication, and people have to identify, what's their role in the team, and there's negotiating, collaborating. So that is something that also in today's high-tech world, that if people get used to those styles of communication and team building within the video game environment, those translate very well into the workforce later on. Another one is power and esteem. So one thing about video games is they do give us a sense of power, control, increase our self-esteem from that sense of accomplishment we get in video games. And I think we all have a fundamental need for power and control, mastery, and we can get that from many things in life. But we all have that same need, and some people may, play sports and get that, and accomplishing a lot in class and class rank and things like that. But in the video game world, that's another area in which people can get those feelings from. Creativity and innovation. It used to be that video games were more linear, and there was, kind of a beginning and end, or it was just endless accumulating points. But nowadays, There's so many options in the video game world, and a lot allow you to create your own levels and post them online for other players to play, like Little Big Planet, and there's so many games that allow you to design levels now and then other people to play through those levels. And that's something that I think is a really powerful feature of video games. Next point, freedom in discovery. So in a lot of video game worlds, there's this endless searching, questing, looking for things, and you get a sense of this exploration and discovery. Many of the Mario games, and there are so many out there that have these big expansive worlds, and World of Warcraft and things like that, where you're searching and exploring, and that taps into something that's really driven humans for thousands and thousands of years, that kind of quest to explore and find new things, that sense of discovery. Next point, education and learning. So now there are many video games and apps on iPhones and things like that where you can use these games to learn concepts, phonics, math, and things like that. And about any concept you want to learn now, that there's ways to embed gaming elements into that learning process, which incentivizes the learning. There's a term that they use called gamification, that is taking game concepts and embed those gaming concepts in activities that typically don't have a gaming element in it, or could be a tedious job or chores or things like that. And now through gamification they can do that. And so whether you're learning times tables or things like that, with the gamification, it can motivate students to learn more quickly. Now this next one is enhanced cognitive abilities, and this is sort of controversial. There's a lot of different thoughts on this, is how much things like Lumosity, Posit Science is another one, CogMed, and then there's like Big Brain Academy and games like that, Brain Age on the DS, that are supposed to enhance cognitive abilities. And there may be some truth to this. There's still controversy. I think there's a little bit of the carts being put before the horse. There's a lot of claims made. And while video games and different types of video games can enhance cognitive abilities, the big question is, does it generalize in day-to-day life? So the word's still out on that, but my guess is they do. It's just hard to discern what claims made about how much they can improve cognitive abilities and what really unbiased empirical research says about that. The next topic is improving technical skills. Video games are such a rich environment for learning computing and technical skills and enhancing those, whether someone's trying to upgrade their video card or upgrade their computer overall, or just becoming familiar with navigating within technical worlds and becoming very comfortable with that. So that's again then how complicated some of the games are now, that this sense that I can go into this activity, this very, very rich and complicated computer gaming world, and learn to master it, then that gives the confidence to help out in other areas of life, whether like someone's learning to program or something like that. The next topic is therapy. And video games are being used for therapy in different forms, and some of the earliest ones were to help people with phobias and virtual reality type of games, so that there was an exposure element, so whether it's heights or things like that, or spiders, flying, and that people learn to become desensitized to those things that once caused anxiety. And I think there'll be a lot more room for growth in this, and this will be a topic I'll come back to again sometime, but that's another area. The next topic is solving real world problems. And this kind of blends into the next topic as well, which is positive computing. And so what I want to say about this is different types of computer technology are being used to enhance our lives in so many different ways. A great book on this topic, and I'm not being paid for a plug here, but I did read this, and it's called Reality is Broken: Why Games Make Us Better and How They Can Change the World by Jane McGonigal. She's done TED Talks, and you can find her website online. It's a great book if you want to learn a lot more about the benefits of video games and how they can bring out the best in us. That idea that video games, within the video game world, players will work so hard to gain new skills and to level up and gain achievement badges and things like this. And rather than kind of poo-poo that and say, gosh, what a waste of time that is, in a way we need to say, wow, kids, and a lot of the kids who won't work very hard in their homework and at school will work very hard within Call of Duty to become, achieve a high level of mastery. And what we want to say is there a way to marry these two things to bring out the best in us? And that's what positive computing is about. And there's some games, and there are ways, of changing the world, like if you want to go to freerice.com, that's a way of answering trivia questions, and as you answer them, you earn rice for someone in a third world. So it's real, you see virtual rice, but it ends up being rice for people in the real world. And then there's a number of examples in this Reality is Broken, like Chore Wars, where you can set up with your family to do chores and assign chores, and so that you have an avatar that can level up and in ability and appearance based on how many chores the person does and following through with those. There's a whole charter school called Quest to Learn that's based on gaming concepts. So as you learn math concepts and multiplication tables and other concepts, that you level up, and there's more to it than this, but they try to embed gaming concepts into the entire school curriculum, and it's been met with great success. There was one called Fold It, and that's described by Jane McGonigal in this book, but where players were allowed to try to work out folding proteins, and by folding proteins, it'll help us with different diseases and find treatments and cures for different diseases. And scientists were having a hard time doing that, and they made a game out of it and then put it for online for PlayStation players. For one, I'm not sure if it was with PCs as well, but all these gamers just jumped to it, and they were able to solve some of these problems in such a short amount of time that it had been causing scientists problems for months or years. And then you have a whole fitness craze now with positive computing, things like Fitbit, which I have in my pocket here, which I've been using now on and off for a while. I lost mine, so I've sort of appropriated my wife's, but it's a pedometer, and you can wear it, and they're going to come out with a wrist version. I'm not getting paid for a plug here, but basically by measuring your steps, it really incentivizes taking steps. And we're supposed to get 10,000 steps a day, and there's many health benefits associated with it, but most of us don't get 10,000 steps a day. This little device here, and there's many others like it now coming out, and there's apps on your iPhone and things like that as well, but they hold us accountable, and then this will sync to your iPhone, and you can track the data over time. You can have a friends list and compare who's getting more steps, but it really incentivizes. And I've had a number of people who've started this, and actually friends recommended it to me and my wife, and once we got on it, we got hooked. if it's not this, there'll be others. Smartwatches are around the corner, so you'll be seeing a lot more of those. Rumored Apple may have one coming out, but many companies are going to be having this and tracking sleep and other measures of fitness and well-being. So anyway, as you can see, there are many benefits of gaming, video games, computer games, and all the gaming apps now, smartphones, and using technology to bring out the best in us. So although there are very real concerns and legitimate concerns about the effects of video game violence, what I think is important to have a balanced view in life and not just look at video games as a colossal waste of time, or that they're just, rotting kids' brains and turn them into, psychopaths or something like that. So this is, I'll come back to some more of these because there's so much to talk about, but I wanted to give a nod to it today. And again, my name is Dr. Mike Brooks. I'm a licensed psychologist and the director of the Austin Psychology and Assessment Center, or ApaCenter. And I'll be doing more segments on the question of, does video game violence cause children and adolescents to become more violent? So please look forward to more segments on that topic. Thanks so much for joining me today.